Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Top 5 Saturdays Live with me, Chase Lee, and my co-host,
Ryan Sutfield.
That's fucking right. And so what this show is, movies come out every single Friday, so we take either like one of those movies that come out, because, there's going to be more than one sometimes, and we will take like a director of one of those movies, an actor, a genre, or whatever. We'll make a top 5 list pertaining to the films coming out that weekend. And the cool thing about this show is that me and Brian don't know each other's lists. So we go into this show fresh. We don't know what each other's picks are, and it's live, so anything can fucking happen. Isn't that right, Brian?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. We've done so many of these episodes, I don't even know what the fuck to do anymore. So yeah, welcome to the show, everyone. If you are brand new to this, welcome. And if you are continuing watching this epic series, then strap on your boots, I guess. Because we're going to give you some more. So, as usual, Brian is going to introduce this week's topic. So, Brian, what are we talking about today?
This is probably, in my opinion, the best episode, the most exciting episode that we've done, that we're going to do. Steven Spielberg, in honor of Bridge of Spies, his newest film. This is a person that has influenced me, Chase, like so many film lovers out there, and he's considered one of the best, if not the best director ever. And it was time we honored such an amazing director like Spielberg. We already honored a few directors, but Steven Spielberg, what else can you say? He's Steven friggin' Spielberg.
That's a hell of an open, man. No, Brian's right. Listen, it doesn't matter which decade you grew up in. Spielberg has touched our little immature hearts at some point. Look, we have Jaws in the 70s. We have E.T. in the 80s. We have Jurassic Park in the 90s. In the 2000s, we have, like, Minority Report and, like, Munich and stuff. Like, the guy, like, has literally – I think he's created every single genre. I think. Like, wait, has – yeah, I guess because Jaws would count as a horror film. So, yeah, I think he's literally done every single genre, including comedies and stuff. So, yeah, this is a tough list, man. This is one of those ones where you have to get down to the nitty gritty, and you have to pick the 5 that define you as a person, or you just love because you love those movies, or like they're technically good, or they emotionally get you in the right way. You could go either way on this, because Spielberg has created so many blockbusters. It's insane. So what I'm going to do this week, Brian doesn't know this because I'm going to spring this on him right now because it's the way I fucking do shit. Brian has to say at least 2 movies that's not on his list. That way it kind of hypes up the list even more. For instance, I'm going to go and say this. A couple films that aren't on my list. Raiders is not on my list, and Jaws is not on my list. So that's going to put a little kink in the list there. So, Brian, before we get into our list, give me 2 films that are not on there that you know that you're going to get flack for.
Saving Private Ryan and Close Encounters.
Interesting. Okay, so I have no fucking clue what Brian has picked. So this is going to be tough. I don't know if I can guess his number 1 this week. I'm usually pretty good. Last week I bombed pretty hard, but this is going to get interesting. So I got my board ready to go. There it is. So, Brian, as usual, sir, you lead it off. What is your number 5?
Now, the way for me, how this is going to work is that I'm going to play samples from the theme songs, because nearly every single film that Spielberg directed was composed by the legendary John Williams. So,
okay, so play number 5 then.
All right, here we go. My number 5 Spielberg film goes to...
So wait a minute. It's obviously Jurassic Park 3, right? Even though he didn't even direct that one.
Jurassic Park. And people are going like, why isn't this higher? Why does it have to be higher? Like, come on, there's other films he's made, people.
Well, listen, before Brian continues, when you put Jurassic Park as number 5, you know you have a good list. Come on, let's really think about it.
If you put it in your top 5, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. I had to put this in the top because I mean, I think everyone has said everything they need to say about Park. I almost said Jurassic World. Oops. Jurassic Park was something very revolutionary for its visuals. It came out in '93. There was a lot of animatronics as well as a little bit of CGI. The animatronics were so realistic. It was amazing how much realism Spielberg used. And obviously, when he had to use CGI, it looked very realistic. The acting was terrific. Story was great. I actually read the book like a few years ago. Really good book. When this was released in IMAX 3D, I saw it. Holy shit! What one of the best theater experiences I've ever had, and that was actually the first movie I ever reviewed on my channel. The review is no longer available, so you can't find me talking about Jurassic Park. And that was when I did extremely reviews. Twitching. But no, Jurassic Park is terrific. Like, it still holds up so well to this day. The visuals in that movie are better than some of the visuals in movies today. The movie came out 22 years ago. It's just amazing how it holds up so well. I really do love Jurassic Park, and I didn't really watch Jurassic Park until I was like 10 years old. I wasn't like someone who watched it when he was a little kid, because I probably would have been scared shitless, because dinosaurs would scare the fuck out of me when I was a little kid. So, I mean, yeah, but I really love Jurassic Park. I own the movie on Blu-ray. I actually haven't opened it. I never opened it.
Oh, come on. What's wrong with you?
What's fucking you? I don't even know. I honestly thought I opened it. I remember I was going to rewatch this before Jurassic World, but it was on TV, and I'm like, oh, well, what's the point of opening a movie if I could just watch it on TV? So, yeah, Jurassic Park, terrific. My number 5.
So, Brian, with you putting Jurassic Park at number 5, do you just, like, hate the world? I mean, do you just hate civilization and, like, babies? Like,
oh, what?
You like to kick babies? Is that what you like to do since you put it so goddamn low? Is that what you like to do?
Hey, you like the rest of my list.
Okay.
The people listening like the rest of my list.
You know what's really funny is I give Brian shit for his number 5, but I don't know if he's going to roll his eyes or just be like, really? That's going to be on your list?
Let's see.
Okay. I'm not going to comment on your pick because later on. Number 5. I remember when I was in the theater that day, and it was after work one day, and it was really late at night, and I just wanted to check it out because the trailers looked really good. I was in the mood for an adventure. And I sat there at like 11 p.m., didn't get out until like 1, and I enjoyed every fucking second of it. And not only is it a great adventure, just like Jurassic Park, this is one of Spielberg's most technologically advanced movies. What am I talking about? The Adventures of Tintin, motherfucker.
Oh, I love that film. That's a great pick.
It's a great...
and it was the first time he ever directed an animated film.
Yeah, no, this is one of those underrated movies that no one ever talks about.
It should have been nominated for the Oscar, but I don't think it was eligible because it was motion capture.
No, it should have. That thing was beautiful.
It won the Golden Globe for Best Animated Feature.
Listen, man, like, when you think of Spielberg, you think of movie magic. You think of, adventure and, like, whimsical journeys. Tintin embodied that. That's what that movie was.
And him and Peter Jackson working together.
Yeah, and
that brought the magic together.
Listen, I don't know if good old P.D. Jackson or good old Steve-O Spielberg is listening to this podcast, but you two need to fucking make the sequel. Fucking make it. I don't care if you have to go borrow money from another country. You fucking make the sequel, okay? You guys, you promised us that you two would swap roles and Spielberg would produce it and Jackson would direct it. So get on that, okay? God. Anyways, it's an underrated movie that no one ever talks about. It's one of the most visually stunning motion capture movies you'll ever see. And you're probably thinking to yourself, well, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes was good. Lord of the Rings is great. No. This is a really damn good one that looks like it looked like a comic strip. Like, those comics you see on Sunday morning in color. That's what it looked like. It looked like this really cool comic strip you would see on a weekly basis just shoved into a giant film. And, if you've seen the movie, Brian knows what I'm talking about. The long one shot where he's escaping through the city. You remember that?
Yeah.
Oh man, that was I don't know how the fuck that was done. So The Adventures of Tintin, there's nothing more to say. It's a great motion capture movie. The performances are great, and Andy Serkis, I mean, come on, he's one of the motion capture kings, and he's in there. It's just a really underrated Steven Spielberg movie that no one ever talks about, and it's one of his most visually gorgeous ones that I can tell you right now. Like I am comfortable with saying that if I had to have a top 3 of like the most visually stunning looking Spielberg movies, that's in there. It just is. So I'm putting The Adventures of Tintin as number 5 because it just blew me away on that level. Because I've always been a fan of mocap, but this movie took it to a whole nother level. So that's why I had to put it on my list. So that's my number 5. So Brian is not really pissed yet. So that's good.
Before I get to my number 4, you want to know an interesting fact? When Tintin came out, you know what came out 4 days later? War Horse.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was the same year, 2011, right?
Literally 4 days later. That's like hilarious. 2 Spielberg films in like 1 week. That's like amazing.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, no, I saw Tintin late at night because I was working at the theater at the time. No one else was in there. I was the only one, and I felt like I had the whole experience to myself. It was a magical night, man. And, you know, it was just good. So that is my number 5 pick. So, Brian, man, what is your number 4 pick?
My number 4 is an interesting pick. Originally, I wasn't going to put this in my top 5, okay, but I felt like I had to for certain reasons. So my number 4 goes to
Is that Schindler?
Yeah, Schindler's List.
Oh.
Now, here's the thing. This is the hardest film I've ever had to watch. But if someone asked me, what do you think is Spielberg's best film, I would have to say this is the best film that he's ever directed. I mean, this was like the most realistic film he's ever done. It is so powerful. It seriously is the hardest film I've ever had to watch in my entire life. The movie's 3 hours long. It's not really. It's like everyone needs to watch this at least once in their life. Now, like I said, it is an extremely heartbreaking film to watch because of how realistic it is. But it feels like an experiment. It feels like you're watching a history lesson, and it's so interesting. And like the whole black and white scheme worked very well for this movie. The performances were amazing. Liam Neeson was the best he's ever been. Ralph Fiennes was outstanding and just scary and haunting. And Ben Kingsley was also terrific here. And this was very powerful for Spielberg because he fell through some depression because this was like really hard for him. So then he would have like Robin Williams and Jerry Seinfeld call him at night to make him laugh because they didn't really laugh at all on set because this was a very serious film to make. It won the Oscar for Best Picture. Spielberg won his first Oscar for directing. I believe it won another like 6 Oscars. That piano score by John Williams is one of the saddest scores I've ever heard in my entire life. And, just thinking about it just makes me want to cry. But it really is his best film. I had to give Schindler's List a shout out because I've only seen the movie one time. Do I plan on watching it again? Sure, maybe in a few years, but I don't see myself. I don't know. I think it would be weird if someone said, hey, I'm going to watch this movie like every week. I don't see the point of that, but it is a truly amazing film. It is considered one of the best films ever made, and I would have to agree it is one of the best films ever made, but it's not one of my favorite films. But it is a truly spectacular film that should not be missed. Everyone has to check this out at least once in their life. Everybody, not just film lovers, but people themselves.
I mean, Brian's right. Like, this is the type of movie to where, fuck, man, you watch it once and you're blown away and you want to own it just because you want to see it again at some point, but you don't touch it for another few years. Like, it's one of those movies that you have to have some space in between because it's a heavy, heavy movie. But I'll get to it in a little bit.
And also, I forgot to mention the certain uses of color, the candle, the girl in the red dress.
Yeah.
Love that. Perfect editing, perfect cinematography. Just a really excellent film. And I believe he shot on like 35 millimeter like film, so that's perfect. And it also felt like a documentary too. Like that's how realistic it was.
And like I said, I'll get to it in just a second, but Brian is right. Like if you look at the way it's shot with the handy cam to where it looks like we're watching actual footage of the Holocaust, and that's what strikes you the most. So it's these fictional characters, well, not fictional, but some of them were fictionalized for the movie, but like most of them are based on real life people. But it felt like you were watching this, History Channel documentary or whatever. So yeah, that's a good pick. My number 4. Brian talked about some depressing stuff, so let's bring it back up to the some good lightheartedness. Here's the backstory on this one. I purchased a bunch of DVDs from this guy I went to high school with and I graduated with, and I bought all of them as a blind buy. Most of them I'd never seen before, and I was like, "Oh, I've heard great things about that. I've heard great things about that." In the pile was Band of Brothers and Raging Bull and I Spit on Your Grave. I love those revenge films, but one of them that was in the pile, I was like, I've heard great things, but I haven't seen it. I bought the movie. I didn't touch it for a year. I recently watched it, I want to say like 9 months ago for the very first time. And I was blown away by the kinetic energy throughout the movie and the fact that it's one of Spielberg's longest movies, but it feels like it's 30 minutes. What am I talking about? Catch Me If You Can, motherfucker. Like, I love that movie. The first time I saw it at 2 a.m. because I couldn't sleep. I was like, okay, let me see this. It'll probably put me to sleep. No. No. I was fucking engaged throughout that entire thing, man. You have Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hanks going back and forth, and basically they're going after each other. Like, Tom Hanks is going after Leo's character. It's a great cat and mouse game, and it's seriously one of Spielberg's most tightly edited movies ever. It flies by, man, because it's got that energy to it. It's got that pace. It's got a great story with great characters. It's just a fun movie. It's just a fun cat and mouse movie. Like, I don't know what else more to say. And Spielberg is always notorious for shooting movies in older time eras and stuff really well. And Catch Me If You Can is no different. Brian, do you remember the decade that it was portraying?
60s.
The 60s. And I thought it was great because that's what I'm saying. Like, Spielberg knows how to capture time eras appropriately, whether it be Schindler's List from World War II or, Catch Me If You Can from the 60s. The guy knows how to create eras. It's fun. It's entertaining. It's all hell, man. I fucking love that. So unless Brian would like to comment on it, or if it's higher on his list, he can also pass on it. So Brian, what do you think about Catch Me If You Can?
Maybe I'll talk about it later.
Oh, look at that. What a sport. What a sport. Okay, so that's my number 4. Man, we're getting into both of ours are different so far. So this is top 3, man. I seriously can't whittle it down. I have to have Brian do at least his third and second one. So Brian, with that being said, what is your number 3?
My number 3 goes to...
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. My sweet E.T.
So with that being said, ding, 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 guys, we have a winner. We have a match. So my number 3 is also E.T. So let's talk about it.
E.T.
I remember when I saw E.T. for the first time, man. I was a kid, and that's the reason. One of the reasons why I put it on my list is because I watched it as a kid. And it was such a magical adventure. That was one of the movies that pushed me over the edge to become a filmmaker and stuff. It not only like it was Disney Animation that did it for me, but if you want to talk about other movies, E.T. was one of them. It's just a simple movie about a boy that becomes friends with an alien, man, that's made out of clay and looks like a fucking dinosaur turd. But you fall in love with the guy, and you want to see E.T. go home. And it also was the movie that introduced me to Reese's Pieces. It was another movie that, like what Brian played, has one of the most memorable scores in the history of cinema, especially when Elliot gets on the fucking bike and they ride up. They ride up, man. They just ride off into their little heart's can desire, man. I love...
Right here. Look at that right there.
Oh, it's great. So good. And that's one of the most iconic images that Spielberg has. You
That's
want
the logo for his production company.
Logo for Amblin Entertainment. That's what Brian said. It's like that is the most prominent image of Spielberg's brand, and it's just a magical movie, man. I love that thing to death, and it's got one of the best comebacks in history. Shut up, penis breath! Like, come on, man! Like, that's what a great comeback as a kid when you tell your older brother, "Shut up, penis breath." Every time I hear that line, I want you guys to search "penis breath" on YouTube. You'll find the clip of E.T. It's hilarious the way Elliot delivers it to his.
It wasn't like that, you piece of shit.
Oh, it's great. Oh, it's great. It's a great brotherly bond. But it was one of those movies I watched as a kid. It was just a magical, whimsical adventure to where I realized that you can be sucked into a movie and not realize it's a movie, and you think it's actually something real. Like, that's the magic that Spielberg puts on his movies. That's why E.T. is number 3 for me. So, Brian, what does E.T. mean to you?
E.T. was one of the it was such a film. It was a film that I would watch a lot when I was a kid. It was actually one of the few movies that makes me cry. Listen, I know that it's just an alien, but when he says goodbye to the alien at the end, it breaks my fucking heart. And John Williams' score after he says "I'll be right here," it's like da 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 da. Like, it's so good. Oh my god. I mean, like, the characters are so good. The Spielberg's direction is amazing. John Williams' score is terrific. The model of E.T. looked great, and the person that voiced E.T. supposedly smoked a lot of cigarettes, talking like E.T. Like, okay, never do that ever again. But and it's a beautiful film. I can never get enough of E.T. I mean, every once in a while, I kind of want to watch it, but then it just makes me cry. Like, when I tell someone, E.T., when people ask me, what's a movie that makes you cry? I'm like, E.T. I'm like, that must mean you have no soul. But no, like, I love E.T. And also another character, it was also the introduction of Drew Barrymore, too. She was a 5-year-old girl. And also the older brother, Michael, loved that guy. When he comes in, he's like, accident, and add to your collection, nothing but health shit. Like, when he comes in and sings some nothing but health shit.
Didn't Drew get nominated for that?
For an Oscar?
Yeah.
No.
Right?
The film was nominated for Best Picture. It should have won.
I could have sworn that Drew Barrymore was one of those young actresses that got nominated.
No.
No?
Nope.
Guys, I don't know what I'm on right now. It's definitely not any drugs.
But the film should have won Best Picture. I'm not just saying that because I love the movie. Like, even the person who directed the Best Picture winner says, E.T. is a better film, and that film should have won Best Picture. And the person that won Best Director was Richard Attenborough, who won for Gandhi. And Richard Attenborough ironically starred in Jurassic Park.
I mean, but can you argue with the epic grand scope of Gandhi?
It's a boring film, though. It's so long.
I mean, I haven't checked in a long time, but the first time I saw it, it was pretty boring.
Yeah, it was asleep. But no, E.T. is great. I mean, if you haven't seen E.T., then what's your purpose in life if you haven't seen E.T.?
Yeah, E.T. is one of those Spielberg movies that you need to see. It's one of those ones that really kind of didn't put him on the map, but I would say his movies that put him on the top 3: Jaws, Raiders, and E.T. Those were the 3 where people were just like, holy shit, who is this guy? Who's this fucking guy, man? This fucking guy. That's not how anyone talked, but that's if I lived back in the day, I would have gotten shot. So yeah, no, E.T., great choice. And I think if you want to start out with Spielberg with your kids and stuff, I think E.T. is a perfect choice. That's the perfect one to kind of introduce your kids to. So great choice, Brian. Okay. So since I already had that as my number 3, you're up next. Now, folks, we are down to the top 2. Brian's got Catch Me If You Can in there somewhere. But I don't know if that's his favorite, though. Saving Private Ryan is not on his list. Whew, this is tough. I don't know, man, because Brian, I specifically do not talk to Brian about our list for this very reason, so I can try to fucking make Brian's mouth drop because I can guess his answers. I think he's got Minority Report in there. Like, there's a strange feeling that I have to where he's either got that or Jaws is in there somewhere. But I don't know where Catch Me If You Can is. And see, now I'm talking to myself like a fucking crazy person, but it's okay because I'm going to fucking nail this down.
Okay, you have one guess. What is my number 2? One guess.
One guess. I'm going to say you put Catch Me If You Can at number 2.
Nope.
Shit. Okay. What is your number 2? Okay. So obviously it's Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, correct?
You're clearing on jugs, boy.
Brian, why'd you just yell like a really old midget? No
Why
comment.
would you know what an old midget sounds like?
I watch a lot of midget porn, guys. I'm sorry.
Funny. Well, the thing is, you have to guess which Indiana Jones it is. Is it your Last Crusade,
ooh.
Temple of Doom, or Raiders of the Lost Ark?
I'm gonna go with Raiders, man.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, it started off everything. Listen, here's the deal with Indiana Jones. Harrison Ford's the fucking man. If you got now, I just want to briefly. This may be a little off topic, but it has something to do with Indiana Jones. If you guys watch any videos from Collider, they do a segment called Save or Kill whenever they interview people. And one of the questions is Han Solo or Indiana Jones. Now that question makes me want to kill myself because, I mean, who you save and who you kill? I honestly would go Han Solo, but the thing is, Indiana Jones is a fantastic character. Harrison Ford played him perfectly. Raiders of the Lost Ark is such an iconic film to the point where it's so much fun. It's so entertaining. It's magical. It has that Spielberg awesomeness to it. Of course, the theme by John Williams is terrific. I thought all the other performances were very good. And it is Spielberg's James Bond because if you don't know this, he actually wanted to direct the James Bond film super badly. But when you think about it, this is like James Bond if James Bond was an archaeology professor. And it's perfect. I mean, what else can you say about Indiana Jones? I mean, it's just perfect. Now, listen, I'll touch upon the other 3 films just quickly. Okay, Temple of Doom is a very good film. I don't necessarily call it great, but I mean, it was an interesting prequel. Last Crusade is terrific. I cannot get enough of that film. Dad, why? Dad, why? Dad, why? Sean Connery as Henry Jones Sr., love it. And listen, I'm just going to say this right now. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, you know, a lot of people seem to shit on that film. It's not the worst film ever. Just people may... compared to the original 3, yeah, it sucks. But as a film itself, it's okay. There are some good things. Okay, Shia LaBeouf swinging with monkeys. I don't know what the fuck that was doing in there. But Spielberg has apologized. He did apologize for that film. So, I mean, that's enough. But I love Raiders of the Lost Ark. I just love the character of Indiana Jones. And, you know, I just feel like there's nothing to say. Like, I feel like everyone has said everything they need to say about Indiana Jones. And it's just, yeah, I love Raiders of the Lost Ark. I love it.
Okay, it's a pretty good choice. I mean, listen, I'm going to shock a lot of people, but the first time I saw Raiders was actually not until 2011. I took a class in the school called Acting and Directing, and there was an assignment that our teacher gave us. We had to pick from a list of films, and we had to write an essay about it. I picked Raiders because I'd never seen it before, and I was like, I want to see it because people, talk about it all the time. And I really loved it. I love Raiders, man. I love that whole Ark of the Covenant scene at the very end, man. It's terrifying. If my face melted off, I might just piss.
There's a lot of terrifying shit in Raiders of the Lost Ark. The ball. Yeah,
no, it's a very intense adventure movie, and Harrison Ford embodies that character. Like, he will go down as that character.
Yeah, no one else could have played that role like Harrison Ford.
Listen, as you guys can tell right there, he was also known for Han Solo, but let's face it, he's probably going to be Indiana Jones. That's probably what's going to go down in history for. So it's a great movie. I haven't seen the others, but I saw Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. whatever. We have animated gophers. So yeah, no, it's a great choice. And so since that was not your number 2, I know what your number 1 is now. So with that being said, Brian's got to guess my 2 spots. So Brian, for number 2, you get 1 guess. What is it?
Schindler's List.
You are incorrect.
Bollocks.
I'll give you 1 more shot.
Jurassic Park.
Dun 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 na 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 na. Look at that fucking dinosaur. He is shitting on me. No, listen.
You just got your preview of Jurassic Park the musical.
I know it's fantastic. I'm gonna write it. I'm gonna send it off to Broadway, and then I'm gonna send it off to Trey Parker and Matt Stone. They're gonna approve it. So, listen. When I was a kid, like I was 3 years old when this movie came out, and my dad has told me this numerous times. My aunt lives in Florida. And I believe me, my mom, and my dad were in Florida, and it came out, and my dad said that he left me in my aunt's house, and him and my mom went to go see it in theaters. So I never got to see number 1 in theaters, but I did see number 2, and I saw number 3, and I saw number 4 in theaters. But when Jurassic Park had the 20-year anniversary in 2013 in theaters in 3D, I totally fucking saw it in theaters. Totally worth it. I had seen it numerous times on video tape, on DVD, on TV, but it still blew me away in theaters when I saw it at age 23, to where I was like, this movie will never get old. Doesn't matter how many times you watch this, man. It will capture the fucking magic that dinosaurs exist. They are in front of your face, and they are alive in modern time. Like, it's crazy that Spielberg can put that into your head and go, this is happening in front of you. Fucking believe it. This movie was not an illusion, folks. It was real. You get sucked into this movie, and you were scared for your life. You were just terrified from all these raptors and T-Rexes coming after you. And don't even get me started on the special effects for this movie. This movie changed the fucking game for the whole entire industry in general. Practical effects, CGI, you name it, it changed the game. I don't know how they did some of this shit in 1993, but Brian was right. When you rewatch this now, it is almost 2016, folks. It still looks good. It looks better than half the shit that Hollywood just likes to shit out of its tiny little fucking anus. So it was one of those movies you watched as a kid, and you were so awestruck that anything was possible in the movie. And that was also one of the movies that tipped me over to want to make films. Spielberg, he just knows how to do it. And that was a great year for him, man. 1993 will go down as the best year in Spielberg's career, period. So Jurassic Park, it's a hell of a ride, man.
He announced the best character.
So you want me to do it?
Yes, come on.
That's a big pile of dino shit. Did you say there are dinosaurs on the island? I can't do it with Goldblum. That's like the best I can do. It's close enough. So that's a big pile of shit. Like, that's my favorite line. Yeah, no, it's a really, really fun movie. That was, a lot of people say that Jaws is their blockbuster. That's fine. I love you to death, but I gotta sorely disagree with you. Jurassic Park is my blockbuster, like my main blockbuster from Spielberg. Not Jaws, not E.T. It's fucking Jurassic Park. That thing is gigantic in scope. It just feels gigantic. And Spielberg, he made a practical dinosaur. He made CGI dinosaurs, and all blended in so well. That's how you know when you have a good filmmaker, is when you blend in the CGI, blend in the practical, make it all one giant, package, and project it on screen and have us lose ourselves in the fantasy. I don't know what's more to say. It's fantastic. Listen, the sequel's good. Lost World, it's forgettable. Number 3, I actually remember the most. I didn't care for it, but I remember it the most. Alan. And then Jurassic World, I actually really enjoy on an entertainment level, and I can't wait to see what they do to continue on with it. I love the franchise, but the first one is king. It will always be king. It's great. So that's my number 2. So now we're down to our number 1s. I already know Brian's. So before we get into Brian's pick, Brian, would you like to take a stab at what mine is? You only get one shot.
Well, your voice is like
yeah, your voice is good.
Ah, shit. Oh. Fuck, this is difficult.
Lot to choose from.
Holy shit. Ah. This is tough. I'm gonna say it one more time. Schindler's List.
That is correct.
Oh, thank God, right.
All right. So this is actually really interesting. So I chose a really long and depressing movie about the Holocaust, and Brian chose a cat and mouse movie. So this is fascinating that we chose like 2 separate fucking things. So Brian, would you like to go first? Why is Catch Me If You Can?
I really didn't want you to guess that was my number 1.
Hey, but I'm just
I wanted you to guess that it was Jaws. That's why I didn't say Jaws didn't make the list.
Brian, you can't stump the king. I'm just that good. So
I wanted to play the fucking first before I explain. I must play the amazing amazing cat and mouse theme.
Do it. This song is the first thing you hear in the opening credits, and
that opening credits is one of the best opening credits for any film ever.
It's great. It reminded me of like a Hitchcock movie.
Yeah, it's like a Hitchcock meets James Bond film.
It was great. It was really cool. So, anyways, Brian, why is
this
film special?
I think, I'm surprised you don't really know this. I told you numerous times that this film is like one of my favorite films ever made. I think it's one of Spielberg's most underrated films. It's actually one of his highest rated reviewed films on Rotten Tomatoes. It has like a 96. And no one talks about this. I mean, yeah, people talk about it, but no one talks about it a lot. Like you said, it's a perfect cat and mouse game. DiCaprio and Tom Hanks going back and forth together is just amazing. There's so many quotable lines. It's a very funny movie. It's a very heartbreaking movie at times. The cinematography is great. John Williams' score is terrific. The sets are all great. The costumes, the accuracy is great. DiCaprio, this is one of the first performances that a lot of people said, you know what, this guy isn't just the pretty boy from Titanic. He's still a pretty boy, but he's a good actor. And then Tom Hanks, that's fucking fantastic. I mean, of course, all the great lines, the knock, knock, who's there? Go fuck yourself. 2 mice fell in the bucket of cream. I'm never going to try a Christopher Walken impression ever again. And then he would call him every time on Christmas Eve. And, it's such a brilliant movie. I just love true story films. I love movies involving crime. Frank Abagnale Jr. was one of the, even though he's a criminal for what he did, he is one of the smartest men on the entire planet. And now he works for the FBI. So, I mean, he's a very helpful person. I mean, just the fact that he impersonated a pilot, a lawyer, and a doctor. I mean, do you concur? Concur with what, sir? So good. So good. I want Spielberg to make more films like this. I want him to do. And this was another great year for him because he had this and Minority Report. And, I mean, when you look at the films he does, when he does 2 films every year, that's crazy. He did Schindler and Jurassic Park same year. Catch Me If You Can, Minority Report same year. War of the Worlds in Munich the same year. Then he did Tintin and War Horse in the same year. The guy's just... But Catch Me If You Can... I just love it so much. It's like my 3rd favorite film ever made, and that's pretty shocking. Because how come another Spielberg film was in your favorite? Well, listen, E.T. is one of my favorite films ever made. Jurassic Park is one of my favorite films ever made. But they're why isn't that higher than Catch Me If You Can? Because it's not. It's my list. Deal with it. But yeah, I love Catch Me If You Can. I fucking adore it. It's a fantastic film. Truly love it. If you guys haven't seen it, please watch it. If you're a DiCaprio fan, you gotta watch it. And you're a Tom Hanks fan, you must watch it. I've already said everything I need to say. Now let's hear why Schindler's List is your number one.
Well, before I get to that, like, I think this is the closest we've been in a while to where, like, excluding Raiders and Tintin, we have the same list basically. So they're just kind of swapped all over the place. So, interesting. So yeah. Anyways, Schindler's List. As you guys know, I'm a deep and broken soul, and I love depressing movies. And so, and I might be a little biased in picking this as well because I really love World War II stuff. I love the Holocaust. I'm just fascinated that we as humans allowed this bullshit to happen and people got away with it. That's why I'm so fascinated with it, because we made a grave mistake letting this happen in human history. But that aside, the movie is super powerful. It's shot in this like documentary feel. It makes you feel like you're there and you're watching real footage. And these are just actors. Like, that was crazy. When you watch the movie, it feels like you're watching, these people get contained or get killed or get freed or whatever. It's quite amazing to watch. And believe it or not, this is a movie I saw way before I even knew who the fuck Liam Neeson was. So once you realize Liam Neeson is in it, you're just like, oh, wow, that's actually really cool. And, we have Ray Fiennes who plays the villain. It's just a well-acted movie, it's expertly directed. Holy shit. And Brian's right. The whole black and white really helps the movie. I can't even imagine what it would look like in color, and nor do I want to. I only want to see this movie in black and white. It's just a very powerful movie. I remember showing this movie to one of my friends one time. It was like 5 years ago. She was house sitting, I think, and she told me to come over and she told me to bring a movie. I brought over Schindler's List, and it's like 3.5 hours long. It's a long fucking movie. So much so you have to flip the DVD. So side A, it's done. Side B. That's how long it is. I remember she had never seen it, and I showed it to her, and she was just blown away. And she was right, Brian's right, and I'm right. You can watch this movie, and you want to watch it again at some point in your life, but it's not going to be soon, man. I mean, seriously, that was the last time I saw it. Was like 4 or 5 years ago. I might pop it in next year or 2 years from now, but it's not something I want to watch every time. But you cannot deny that this is a masterclass movie on every level. It won Best Picture for a reason. It won Best Director for a reason. And Brian's right, man. That score done with the piano is ridiculous. It's haunting. It gives you fucking chills. And on top of all that, with the realistic feel of it, this had to be one of the most realistic portrayals of violence I've ever seen, like in an R-rated movie. You know how like in movies where like it's got like gratuitous bloody violence and you can tell it's like that's movie violence. No, this looks like people were actually shot on film, like shot with a gun, not shot with a camera. It was realistic and super grounding, and it just grabs you by the fucking throat, man, and does not let go. Spielberg wanted you to fucking watch this and understand that this was a disgusting time in history and that people like Oscar Schindler were there to actually help people. And that's what was great. He was like the one human in there that you wanted to succeed. You wanted him to free as many Jews as possible from this horrific situation. It's so powerful and so haunting. That's why Schindler's List is my favorite Spielberg movie that he's ever done, ever will do. And I saw this movie, when I was a teenager, and I've said this is his best one for like 12 years now. So
it is his best one.
It is his best one.
It's never going to be a film that tops this, and if there is, I'm curious to see what it is.
Listen, out of all the double years that he's done, 1993 will go down as the best year he's in cinematic history, best year he's ever done, because he created not only the best picture, but a very powerful Holocaust movie, and he created one of the biggest blockbusters in history in the same fucking year. The guy's a fucking madhouse, okay? And with that being said, before I show you the list on the board, we're going to get to our honorable mentions because this guy has created so many movies, it's hard to not put them on the list. So with that being said, guys, before we get into honorable mentions, here's our top 5. We have 4 of them in common. There's just one of them that switched out, but we have E.T. on the same slot. But we all agree that at least those 4 are his best ones, period. And I don't think anyone could disagree with us because he has made some good shit, guys. So let's jump into those ones that just couldn't make the list. I just have a few. I'll start this off because I know Brian usually has like a full list. Saving Private Ryan. It's a great war film. Who can? The opening scene of Saving Private Ryan alone is enough to have it ingrained in your mind, and it will never leave. Like, you will always remember that scene in cinematic history with the D-Day at Normandy. So, Saving Private Ryan, Minority Report. Jaws, I'll throw Jaws in there for all the people that are going to get angry. I like Jaws a lot. I'm not like the biggest fanboy of it. I think Raiders is good. And I'll put Lincoln on there. I think Lincoln's a very good movie. It's one of those movies where you watch it and you're amazed by Daniel Day-Lewis's performance and just everything about the movie, but you don't really want to watch it again. It's not really rewatchable. It's kind of like one of those ones you see once and you go, oh, damn, that was really good. And that's pretty much it. And I think that's – I can't put Amistad on there only because I've only seen like a fourth of that movie. I need to watch the whole thing before I can judge, but it was really good from what I saw. And that's pretty much it. That's all the ones I got honorable mentions. So, Brian, what are some of the ones that just barely escaped that top 5?
Every honorable mention that you mentioned. Munich is a great film.
Munich, I forgot about that one.
The other 2 Indiana Jones films. Close Encounters, like I brought up before, I really wanted to put that. I love that whistle. I can't do it because I'm not really the best at doing whistles like that. Terminal, I think, is a very underappreciated film from his filmography. It's Tom Hanks and trapped in an airport. It's Spielberg's funniest film that he's ever done. I just don't understand why people don't like that film. Yeah, it's very different from Spielberg's filmography, but it's good that he did something different. It's good that he did something different. I think it's a very underrated film. I really like War of the Worlds. I know that some people give that film shit, but hey, listen, I think that whole film is great except for the fucking kid. We have to get back at them. We have to get back at them.
Brian, that was beautiful, man. I want to give you the Oscar for that.
And then War Horse, Tintin, and Lincoln. And Color Purple.
Yeah, I mean, no, and you know what's really great about Spielberg? Even the ones that people dislike, I've never seen. I have no dislikes from Spielberg. I've liked everything I've seen. I haven't seen The Terminal. I haven't seen shit bucket. I've never seen War Horse. That's about it. Like,
3 films of his I haven't seen. 3 films: Duel, Sugarland Express, and Amistad. Those are the only 3 films of his that I haven't seen. Now, I'm just going to talk about the films I think are okay. Hook. Okay, I don't get why that's his lowest rated film, but I don't think it's that great of a film. Rest in peace, Robin Williams. He did great as Peter Pan. I really would have loved to have seen them work together again. I think they should have worked together on another film. Empire of the Sun. Young Christian Bale. A very, very young Christian Bale who's like my age, or it might be like 15. Like, it's crazy. Little Christian Bale working with Steven Spielberg. That's crazy. Came with the Crystal Skull I already brought up. And Lost World. It's not terrible, but it's not that good either. It's just cool that Jeff Goldblum came back as Ian Malcolm.
Yeah. No, and the thing is, if I had to put like a dislike list, The Lost World might be the only thing on there. The only reason I'm not going to put it on there because it's still entertaining. It's not.
The worst thing is when that girl like goes around and then kicks the dinosaur. That's fucking terrible.
Just the gymnastics and kicks the rat.
Oh, what the fuck is that doing in there? So okay, so I only have one dishonorable mention, and then I have my worst. AI, artificial intelligence. I fucking hate this film. Now, this isn't my worst. I hate this film to death. I don't know how this film has a good rating on Rotten Tomatoes. It sucks. Now, originally, Stanley Kubrick was going to direct this, but the man passed away. So Spielberg honored him in the best way possible. I will say that the film is visually gorgeous. It's terrific. Haley Joel Osment did a fine job. This was him coming off The Sixth Sense. He did fine, I guess, as a robot boy. And I will say that the woman who played his mom was fucking beautiful. And she hasn't done anything since. She reminded me of a combination of Mary Louise Parker and Evangeline Lilly. I don't know why, but that's the kind of combination she reminded me. So I'm going with 1941 as my worst. This film sucks. It's terrible. Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi in a war comedy. Hey, war comedy with John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd. What could go wrong? Everything went wrong. It sucks. The end.
Well, unfortunately for you and the audience listening, I had not seen those movies, so can't comment.
I don't know how that film has a higher rating than Hook. I don't get it.
Yeah, Hook is one of his lowest rated movies.
Hook is his lowest rated reviewed.
I've never understood. I think Hook's fun. I mean, it's fun, but
I don't think it's that great of a movie personally, but
it's whatever. I mean, it's not. You're right. It's not the best Robin Williams movie by a long shot, but I mean, it's still. It is what it is. Yeah. No. Listen. To wrap this up, guys, Spielberg is one of those directors that, yeah, he might have some missteps, but the guy still knocks him out of the park. Or at least
every director has a misstep. Every single one. Almost.
I would say people like maybe a Kubrick or even Christopher Nolan, man. I don't. To be honest with you, I don't think Christopher Nolan has ever had a misstep. Ever.
No, he hasn't, but he's had films that I found disappointing.
Yeah, they'll teach his own. I've never been disappointed by anything he's ever done.
It was disappointing for me, but that's a different story.
Yeah, anyways. No, Spielberg is one of these directors that he is a director and a filmmaker and a producer, mind you. He's produced a lot of shit. Well, literally, because he executive produced those Transformers movies. But listen, the guy's been in the business for a long time. He knows how to create blockbusters. He knows how to create really emotionally impactful movies. The guy is multifunctional in every single genre. He knows this industry at the back of his hand. He is one of the best. He goes from each decade, and people have their favorite movie of his. He's multi-generational, man. He's one of the best. And when I hate to say this, but we're human beings. We're all going to die at some point. When Steven Spielberg passes, that's going to hit the industry pretty damn hard. So, he's one of the best. So, Steven Spielberg, man, keep doing your thing. It's nice to go to the theaters and know that Steven Spielberg has a new movie. It's nice. It's really cool. It's a nice feeling. So, that is our list for Steven Spielberg, but I want to know what you guys have to say. Comment in the place below my face, and you let me know and let Brian know what are your favorite Steven Spielberg movies, what are your least favorite, especially the ones that Brian disliked. Have you seen those? Do you dislike them? Do you like them? Whatever, just let me know. So that's pretty much it for this week's episode, guys. As usual, Brian will introduce next week. So, Brian, what is on the docket for next week? Because, it might just be my favorite week. Brian just face palm because he knows what's coming.
No, probably gonna be Chase's favorite episode ever.
The
next week
is coming, folks.
The hurricane, and no, it's not Hurricane Joaquin. Actually, people in your area probably don't know what Hurricane Joaquin is. It was a hurricane that almost hit my area. So next week, in honor of the wide release of Steve Jobs, ladies and gentlemen, we are not going to be honoring Michael Fassbender. Not enough films. Danny Boyle, maybe sometime in the future. Instead, we're going to be honoring Seth Rogen.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm going to finally prove to you guys that this guy is one of the best in the industry, and people just shit all over him. I'm going to bring it hard next week, guys. I got some great picks for you, comedy and drama, mind you. He's a great director, great writer, great producer, great actor, and he's in a – guys, think about this. He's in a movie directed by Danny Boyle, and he's spewing Aaron Sorkin dialogue. How fucking awesome is this guy? Seth Rogen is one of the best, baby. He's one of the best that, fueled me to write comedies, him and his partner, Evan Goldberg. So, guys, get ready for it, man. I'm going to totally vouch for this guy, and – it's going to look like I'm blowing smoke up his ass, but hey, man, I'll blow that smoke way up there because I fucking love the dude. So that is next week, guys. Seth Rogen for Steve Jobs. So I can't wait. And Brian is just shaking his head in disgust. He cannot wait to just crap all over me. It's gonna be fantastic. Oh man, yeah, his audio went out, so I can shit talk and he can't talk back. But Brian, do you know that your mic went out? Give me like a hand signal or something. We're recording. I can't hear you. Okay, so it's going to take a while for Brian to get back on, so I'm just going to go ahead and just wrap this up. So if you guys want to follow Brian's Twitter, YouTube channel, it's going to be a link in the description below, as well as all my Twitter, YouTube, all that jazz. If you want to find me on DallasMovieScreens.com, WeLiveFilm.com, boom, it's in the description below, guys. And tune in next week for another episode of Top 5 Saturdays Live with me, Chase Lee, my co-host, Brian Sudfield. He can't talk, so I had to outro his thingamajigger. So we will see you guys next week for another episode of Top 5 Saturdays Live. You guys keep it real and keep it awesome, man. Let's play the outro music. Brian's audio went out on Steven Spielberg. It went out. It's hilarious. Oh, Brian, rest in peace, buddy. See you guys later.